Dustin Burrows, and I would say studio, but in the office right now, State Representative for District 92, Jonathan Stickland. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me, John.
I appreciate you being here. Tell folks a little bit about yourself, a little bit about District 92, and why you're one of the most talked about lawmakers down here in Austin.
Well, I'm Jonathan Stickland. I am, I believe, the second youngest member of the Texas legislature right now, which is a bit interesting. When we decided to run for office the first time, I was 27 years old. Been married 11 years now. Got two little girls, Andy and Carly, who are, 10 and about to be 8 now.
Awesome.
So that's happened fast. And I represent House District 92, which is in Tarrant County. Go right up to the Dallas County line and cover all of Hearst, Euless, and Bedford, and then a little bit a part of North Arlington and North Grand Prairie.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you coming in today. Let's talk first about some of the pieces of legislation that you have that you want to see push. And I think one of the biggest newsmakers that at least I get tweets about and see is constitutional carry.
Yes.
Talk about that. Why does Texas need constitutional carry?
Well, number one, Texas needs constitutional carry because that's what the people have said they want. This is, in fact, the number one legislative priority of the Texas Republican Party platform. This is what thousands of delegates got together and said, this is the item that we want to see in statute and to become law. So really, I feel like I'm just representing what the people said they want and have wanted for the last 2 cycles. So kept my campaign promise and filed constitutional carry. And what this bill does is it believes that the Second Amendment is our right to keep and bear and have arms. And we don't think that we should have to pay a fee or take a state-mandated test to invoke those rights. So constitutional carry will simply make the CHL process optional. So anyone who is legally able to purchase a gun should be able to carry.
Okay, so legally able to purchase a gun. So I think when some of those who oppose this bill or oppose constitutional carry, they think, oh my goodness, felons are going to be getting guns and being able to carry. Those who shouldn't be able to carry guns, they're going to have guns. This does not allow that.
This is not that fight. That's a different bill. So if you are able to legally purchase a gun and pass the background checks and all the requirements to purchase the gun, then you would be able to constitutionally carry. No one new would be able to.
Would this include open and concealed carry?
Open and concealed. Now, I've had some people who have been concerned because they use their CHL license in other states. We have reciprocity agreements with states all over the country. That's why we're not getting rid of the CHL. We're simply making it optional.
Okay, so you don't have to carry it with you all the time.
That's right.
How much support do you think this has right now?
Well, back at home, this is huge. I mean, I will tell you, we have a pretty active social media presence online, and whenever we talk about constitutional carry, HB 375, this is the number one issue that we get responses on. We have seen literally tens of thousands of people sign petitions. We've been working with National Association for Gun Rights, Lone Star Gun Rights, Open Carry Texas. There are a lot of people who've come together and been pushing this legislation. And I will tell you, we have quite a few people who have been brave and bold who have co-sponsored the legislation already and signed up for it. And I can't tell you how many different politicians who have said, well, I'll vote for it, but I don't want to put my name on it yet.
Why is that? What are they worried about?
Well, politicians here in Austin, they tend to not want to take a position on anything. If they can stay out of the fray, that means they're typically safe. So rather than pushing for the things that they say they believe in, they just kind of step back until they're forced to take a position. That way nobody gets mad. I disagree with the way that they approach things. I think that if you really believe the things that you say you believe, you have a responsibility to go out and push for that, and that includes educating the public and being bold and things like that. So I applaud the over a dozen different folks who have already signed on to the bill. We have the joint authors, and we've been working the committee process. We actually have our committee hearing on next Tuesday, so we've been gearing up for that. Getting our testimonies all ready and whatnot. So it's really exciting.
Let's talk about the dynamic between the Senate and the House.
Yeah.
It's a strong dynamic. There's been a back and forth played out a little bit yesterday on the show when I was broadcasting between the House Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor.
I heard about that.
what are your thoughts just overall on this dynamic? Uh, do you think that the speaker is getting in the way of some of this legislation that Republican voters have wanted? I would say Texas voters overall. Polls, well, I'm talking about the bathroom bill. I'm talking about sanctuary cities.
Sure.
In-state
college tuition
right.
for illegals.
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's a roadblock in the House?
I do, and I definitely blame the Texas leadership team that includes Joe Straus, Speaker Straus, but it also includes the people that he enables. So the people that he has surrounded himself and built this kind of power structure in the House have definitely been working to thwart conservative legislation. And Chad, this is what you get when you have such a powerful position that is elected by a small group of people down in San Antonio. Now, one thing you need to understand about Straus's district back in San Antonio is this is one of the only districts in Texas that did not go for either Cruz or Trump in the primary. Okay, they went with Rubio, and that just wasn't common. So you've got a small little group of people who are electing one person who has managed to put himself in a powerful position with the help of the Democrat coalition and a bunch of moderate Republicans. On the other side, you have Dan Patrick, who was forced to put out a message and lay out an agenda for the entire state, which is much more representative of the Republican Party that I know and that my district wants, which is they want big government off their backs. So Dan has had to face those voters. Straus has never had to face those voters, and I don't think that he could. So I think that's why you see this big roadblock in between these two on what their priorities are.
If the speaker wanted to, and I tried to get him to go there yesterday, because you're right, he has different chairmen, different in different committees that can stop bills from making it to the floor. If he wanted to put pressure on him to say, no, we need to have the debate on the floor over the Texas Privacy Act, could he do it, and would it happen?
He absolutely could, and that's what people back at home need to understand is every single day they continue to stop conservative legislation. It's not like they made a decision a couple of months ago and now they're wondering. They could come in tomorrow. In fact, they have a couple of different times tried to come in and change the rules, suspend all the necessary rules and the Constitution to bring up things that are a priority to them. Unfortunately, last week, one of those was they had cut a deal with the Democrats and they had messed up on some posting. They wanted to bring raising the minimum wage up to $15 an hour to the floor faster. So they brought a motion before everybody to suspend those rules. So we've seen time and time again when the House leadership team, the Republicans, decide they want to do something, they can get it done. But every single day they come down here and say no to the legislation that the Senate is sending over.
I want to get your thoughts real quickly. We have a few minutes here on the show. Do you think that if the bathroom bill, SB 6, if it were to come to the House floor, do you think it'd pass?
I do.
What about the bill for vouchers, school choice?
That one's a little bit more difficult because you have some different parts of the state. Again, overwhelming amount of people at the polls in the Republican primary said that they support school choice. So, but here's the bigger question. Do voters deserve to know where their legislators stand on the big topics of the day? And I say yes. I reject the notion that there is such thing as a bad vote. I believe what I believe, and I'm ready to go defend that before my constituents. And I think that I have a duty to show them where I stand on the issues. Campaigning is one thing, we've found out, but coming down here and voting is another. And I think we owe the people of Texas to show them where we stand on all of these issues. And if you don't agree with something, then get up and make your case. But this idea that House leadership has a responsibility to hide us from quote-unquote bad votes is a sickness, and we need to reject it.
Visiting with Representative Jonathan Stickland. Before I let you go, what's one or two pieces of legislation that everyone else should be paying attention to right now that isn't grabbing those headlines like some of the other pieces that we've talked about?
Well, sanctuary cities is a big one. It is grabbing headlines, but here's what is not. The House version of sanctuary cities is completely watered down. It has no teeth to it. It's bringing in the governor into this kind of fight between the House and the Senate side, from what I have been told, because this sanctuary cities bill that is about to be on the House floor is not what it appears to be. So people need to pay attention to that. I also think they need to pay attention to CPS reform, because there's a lot of parental rights and things that will have repercussions and I believe unintended consequences. So we need to be paying very close attention to that.
All right, Representative Stickland, appreciate your time today, and hopefully we'll get you back on the show up in Lubbock.
Let's do it, Chad. Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to the Chad HD Show, brought to you by H&H Trailer Sales, Galatia Insurance, Cactus Theater, live from the Texas State Capitol.